Have you ever wondered why two people can start in the same place, but end up with completely different lives? Why one person becomes kind, confident, and successful, while another becomes angry, negative, and destructive? What if I told you that the answer might have nothing to do with talent, and everything to do with what they hear every day? This is the story of a royal elephant. But by the end of this story, you may realize it's actually a story about us. Long ago, in a prosperous kingdom, there lived an extraordinary elephant. He wasn't just strong. He wasn't just intelligent. He was known throughout the kingdom for his calm nature, wisdom, and gentle heart. Children could walk beside him without fear. The elderly loved him. Even other animals seemed peaceful in his presence. The king adored this elephant. In fact, many believed the elephant possessed a rare gift, the ability to understand human emotions. Whenever the king was troubled, he would spend time with the elephant and somehow leave feeling calmer. The elephant became a symbol of strength, guided by kindness. But one night, something changed. Something nobody noticed. And that's usually how transformation begins. Not with a loud explosion, but with small influences that quietly enter our minds. Late one night, after everyone had fallen asleep, a group of thieves entered the area near the elephant stable. They weren't there to steal. Not yet. They were there to plan. Hidden in the darkness, they began discussing their next robbery. How do we break into the house? What if someone sees us? We eliminate them. No mercy. No hesitation. No compassion. They talked about violence. They talked about greed. They talked about harming innocent people. For hours, the elephant listened. He stood silently in the darkness, watching, hearing, absorbing. The thieves left. The next night, they returned. Then again, and again. Soon, that place became their secret meeting spot. Every night, the elephant heard the same conversations. Anger, hatred, violence, cruelty. At first, nothing seemed different. The elephant still looked the same, still ate the same food, still slept in the same place. But inside, something invisible was changing. Because words are powerful, even when we don't realize it. The human mind is shaped by repetition, and so is every living creature. What we hear repeatedly eventually becomes what we believe. And what we believe eventually becomes how we behave. Weeks passed. Then one morning, the impossible happened. The elephant suddenly attacked his caretaker, the very man who had cared for him for years. The man who fed him, protected him, loved him. The caretaker never had a chance. The entire kingdom was shocked. How could the gentlest elephant in the kingdom become violent? News reached the king. At first, he refused to believe it. There must be a mistake, he said. My elephant would never do such a thing. But the evidence was undeniable. Something had happened. Something had changed. The king immediately ordered his wisest advisor to investigate. The advisor arrived with an elderly scholar known for understanding both animals and human nature. They carefully examined the elephant. No injuries, no illness, no signs of physical pain. Everything seemed normal. Yet clearly, something was wrong. The scholar walked around the stable searching for clues. Then he noticed something strange. In a hidden corner lay broken tools, old weapons, pieces of stolen property, evidence that someone had been using the area for secret meetings. The scholar sat quietly, thinking, connecting the pieces. Then suddenly, he understood. The problem wasn't in the elephant's body. The problem was in his environment. The elephant had become a reflection of what he heard every day. The scholar returned to the king. "Your Majesty," he said, "the elephant is not sick. He has been educated by thieves." The king looked confused. "What do you mean?" The scholar replied, "Every night he listened to conversations filled with violence, hatred, greed, and cruelty. Eventually, those ideas entered his mind, and over time, he became what he repeatedly heard. The king fell silent, because deep down, he knew the scholar was right. Then the king asked the most important question: can he be saved? The scholar smiled. Yes, because what was learned can be unlearned. What was damaged can be restored. What was influenced negatively can be influenced positively. The solution was surprisingly simple. Remove the bad influence, replace it with a good one. For the next several weeks, wise teachers, compassionate people, philosophers, healers, and kind-hearted citizens spent time near the elephant. They spoke about courage, they spoke about kindness, they spoke about forgiveness, they spoke about helping others. They shared stories of compassion, stories of love, stories of wisdom, every day, again and again. The elephant listened, just as he had listened before, but this time, the words were different. And slowly, so was he. His aggression faded, his calmness returned, his eyes softened, his behavior changed. And one day, the kingdom saw something remarkable. The elephant had become even wiser than before. Not only had he recovered, he had grown. The king made sure the thieves would never come near the elephant again. But the scholar left the king with one final lesson, a lesson far more important than the elephant itself. He said, "Your Majesty, the elephant is not unique. We all become what surrounds us. The conversations we listen to, the people we spend time with, the content we consume, the voices we allow into our minds. They shape our future. Every single day, whether we notice it or not." Think about that for a moment. If you spend your days around people who complain, you begin to complain. If you spend your days around negativity, you begin to think negatively. If you spend your days around fear, you begin to fear everything. But if you surround yourself with growth, you grow. If you surround yourself with courage, you become courageous. If you surround yourself with people who believe in possibility, you begin to believe in yourself. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. That's why changing your life often begins with changing what surrounds you. The elephant's greatest enemy was never the thieves. It was the influence they left behind. And perhaps the same is true for us, because every day we are becoming something. The only question is, what are we becoming? And who is shaping that person? Choose your environment carefully. Choose your voices carefully. Choose your friends carefully. Because the future version of you is being built right now by what you repeatedly hear today. And just like the elephant, your life will eventually become a reflection of your surroundings.